It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin tonight with Dan DeFaw. Before we get started, we want to help you save some money.
That's right, folks. Don't forget to use our promo codes to save that money. And let's start off with buckbaits.com. That's right, the brick and mortar store of Buck Baits down at Sterling Heights, Michigan at 15 and Dodge Park. Go over there. If you're on the website, buckbaits.com, use the promo code UNJ20. That will get you 20% off your order.
For those of you who are looking for Easy Cut products, make sure you go to easycutproducts.com. And when you're there, use the UNJ promo code UNJ15 off to save 15% off your order.
And let's not forget Lincoln Roan over at packermax.com. It's never too early, never too late to think about the Packer Max. Go on over to packermax.com, use the promo code UNJ25. That'll get you $25 off your order over at Packer Max Outdoors.
For those of you looking for some new firearms and firearm products, make sure you go over to the islandarmory.com. While you're there shopping, use the promo code UNJ10 to save 10% off your order there.
If you shot that bird of a lifetime and you want it mounted, don't forget Troublesome Creek Taxidermy. We've had them live on the show. We've talked to them. You want to get 10% off your order, go to Facebook, go to troublesome.creek.7, find their website. If you go to our website, UNJ, make sure to click on the button to download the form. You get 10% off over there using the code UNJ10.
Looking for that game call, whether it be a squirrel, whether it be goose, duck, deer, make sure you go to JPO Game Calls. Look for them at jpogamecalls.com, and while you're there shopping, use the UNJ10 promo code to save 10% off your order.
And Miller Deer Tracking, the man that seems to never sleep during deer season. Get 20% off your next deer tracking using the promo code UNJ20. Look for Miller Deer Tracking on Facebook or give him a call over at 810-240-4891.
Looking for the hottest new plastics to take on the water, whether it be hard water or soft water? Make sure you go over to southernindianabaitco.com. While there, use the UNJ promo code UNJ10 to save 10% off your order.
Deer Camp Coffee, folks. We drink it every night on the show. You want to try it? You can go to the brick and mortar store at 15 and Dodge Park at Deer Camp itself, or go to deercampcoffee.com. Also use our promo code UNJ10. You get 10% off your order. And don't forget, get a bag of the UNJ medium roast blend there as well.
All right, Danny, where's our live view camera look from tonight?
Folks, tonight we're going way up there in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, where it's 27 degrees, a little bit of snow. They got snow on the ground. It's snowing up there currently. And this is a live shot looking at the locks.
The Sioux Locks.
The Sioux Locks.
Looks, there's snow on the ground.
There is snow on the ground, and it's not as foggy as it is here today.
No, it's not. Well, it doesn't look like it. I don't know if it's all those lights and the camera's close or what. But you can see the water moving there.
Right, you can see the water moving, and every once in a while, we've been checking this out. We got a car coming down the road, but they're getting around in Sault Ste. Marie where they got snow on the ground. We had a blizzard, but that was a week and a half ago, and that's all gone.
Yeah.
So
what you can't see right now, and it's not due to the fog, Danny's got Batman pants on.
But do you see Batman here?
No, I don't.
You never see us in the same room, do you?
No.
Uh-huh.
When you're not Batman.
How do you know? How do you know?
You're no Batman. I know that.
Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year.
Absolutely. I tell you what, it's a new year, 2023. Yeah. We are starting our
17th season tonight. Episode 1 of season 17, episode 672 overall.
There you go. 17 years you've got under your belt of doing this.
We're a little grayer in the beard.
We're a lot more grayer. Right? But other than that, man, it's a new year. Get fresh start for the year. And it's in, I think it was in the 50s today.
It was 51, I do believe, here in mid-Michigan. So,
right?
We're going to be talking a little bit about ice fishing tonight. And somebody that's not gray-haired yet is none other than Adam Winn, who is rubbing his beard right now. He was grooming his little cough at the end of his chin.
He's warming it up. He's like, man, I'm gonna.
Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year. He's like, I'm gonna need this next week when I'm up in the UP. Where we actually
be cold
snow.
up there. So.
Yeah, no gray on the end of his whiskers, not yet.
Not yet.
Your time's coming though.
Right? Exactly. So Did you have a good Christmas and New Year?
Absolutely, yep. It was a busy one, but it was a good one for sure. So, how about you guys?
Not bad. Quiet.
It was quiet. It was nice, peaceful, and quiet. Took in a concert. It was nice.
When you're gray like us, quiet is good.
Yeah, right? For sure.
So what are we talking about tonight? We said something about ice fishing.
You know, it was funny when we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think we were in the midst of a blizzard.
Yeah, right there before Christmas.
You know, this would be a good time probably to talk about ice fishing. And lo and behold, matter of fact, what triggered it was a week ago, Monday, you were out on the ice locally doing some ice fishing. I said, oh my gosh, this is a great time to bring it up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you're going to be doing because we know you're going to go to the UP. And let's talk a little bit about ice safety when you get out there. And a week later,
it's 50.
It's 50 and cloudy. And
Yep.
Well, last week.
Bye-bye ice.
Last week over near Quanticosi, there was an ice floe broke off, and the Coast Guard was out with their helicopter, and they were looking at a shanty, a pop-up shanty that was out there, and they got on the floe and checked, and there's 2 pair of gloves in there. There was adult and young kids' gloves, and the shanty looked like it was brand new gear. So they worried they had somebody in the water, but they never did find anybody, and no. So nobody reported anybody missing, so they figured they got off the floe. But it's that time of year, you do the big water, scares the bejesus out of me, man. I respect the big water, but this time of year, man, you got to be careful. And I think that's kind of maybe where we want to start tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, safety on the ice is absolutely huge. So definitely things can go wrong very quickly out there. So
well, that the first thing as the ice starts to develop and everything, you start to watch the thickness and whatnot. And what's like for you? You were out last Monday, I think it was. What's like I know you get intel from the person that lives on the lake.
Yeah.
But what are you looking for in thickness to get out there? Okay, you want to say the first ice is best ice, but what are you comfortable with?
4 inches is my minimum of actual good, hard, clear ice. No cloudy ice. 4 inches of clear, good ice. I'll be out there. So I'm not a super heavy guy, so I'm not too worried about that. No, I'm not saying anything, but
yeah, you are.
I'm a little lightweight, so
well, Danny sends me out first.
Let's just say I'm always seem to be the first one out there checking the ice.
Well, you should come with me because I always let Mike go first.
He says, send the big fella out. If he goes in, then we don't go out.
We got a graphic that we can put up on the screen, and it says 2 inches, keep off of it. And if you're going to do some ice fishing, you might want to start, like you said, this one says 6 inches minimum. But, and then it goes from there. If you want to take a snowmobile out, you go to 10, all the way up to, if we get to about 21 and a half. If I remember right, when we were on Houghton Lake.
22.
We had 22, and, you can take a 4x4 out there.
Yep.
So, you head out there, you got that 4 inches of, you're comfortable with that, and then you just head out and you take a spud with you, right?
Absolutely. Spud, ice picks. I got a flotation suit as well. Definitely recommend that. I mean, ice picks definitely, but once you fall through, it's definitely going to be hard to get out. So having a little flotation is definitely going to help you stay on top of the water and get out of the ice a lot quicker without it. So
you said flotation suit. Talk about that a little bit.
So yeah, I got that probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it's basically pants and a jacket, and as soon as you hit the water, your suit kind of fills up with air and provides buoyancy to your body for up to an hour, which hopefully by an hour you're out of the water. But yeah, that suit is makes you feel a lot more comfortable on the ice, especially early or late ice. So
yeah,
definitely a game changer, and it keeps you very warm too.
They call it in this one we're looking at on the screen, the Striker Ice one, 150 grams of sure float, and it's called flotation assistant technology, or FAT.
Fat floats?
Fat floats.
Okay. Well, so that's got built-in material. It's not like some of these life jackets that you see that you put on flotation devices. When it hits water, it automatically inflates.
Yep.
Or am I wrong in that? Does this jacket do that?
There's no. It's just like the pants and jacket, like just puff up with air essentially.
Okay.
And it makes you buoyant in the water.
So is that the last layer to the inside of your jacket? Because the reason I'm asking for it is it says that it has an inner cell phone pocket. So my question is, if you fall in, is that pocket on the inside of that layer so it stays dry? Or
Correct. Yep.
It would.
Well, is it a dry? It's not a dry suit, is
So
it?
I don't
wouldn't think
so.
because there's no. Does yours have gaskets around the neck and around the cuffs? And
No.
your pants around the legs. Okay, so it's not
Just around the legs, just around the boots. There's cuffs around the boots.
Okay, so it's not like. See, I keep equating it to, like we talked before the show, a dry suit for kayaking, and those have gaskets, so that way it seals, actually around your neck, around your wrists, and around your feet, so that way,
Right.
and then the zipper is all watertight.
Right, and so I when you get out of the water, I think this is where it comes in. They call them fast drain hem and sleeve
Yep.
cuffs.
Okay.
So it drains the water, obviously, when you get out, right?
Okay.
Right, and that's huge because if you're just out there in Carhartts and a normal jacket and you're in normal, wet clothes, it's not going to dry out. With that gear, it's going to drain the water super quick. You can, shed your layers, get in new clothes if you need to, or have them. So,
Danny, you can't take our live feed while I'm on
Oh,
your laptop. Sorry about
I
that.
thought you
folks.
I heard you click off of it.
No, I was going back and forth. So.
Oh, okay.
I got to get me a new assistant director here.
I know, right?
So you got the suit. You said you're talking about picks. What's run through the gear that you normally take out with you on whether it be the big water or a small lake, and what's the difference between the two when you do go to big water?
So yeah, I'm always bringing a heater out there. Obviously my fishing rods, tackle, the spud, ice picks, my fish finder. That's a big factor out there on the ice. Fish finder is going to give you your depths, going to show you if there's fish down there that you're fishing for. But yeah, big water, there's a little different to that. Definitely gear up a lot more when I go out there. Preparation in case something does happen. I got to stay overnight. Definitely have extra propane, extra clothes and stuff. If I ever do get wet, I can change out of that. So Saginaw Bay, bigger waters, I'm definitely preparing a lot more than just a local lake. So.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good question by Mark. You have that jacket on, and it starts a heavy rain. Will it puff up?
No.
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 Okay.
So yeah, it's like hard to explain, but you could look it up more online and it'll tell you more like in depth about it. But basically, like I said, once you hit that water, your suit almost just fills with just normal air. It's no like built-in, chambers or anything in the jacket or nothing like that.
It's just the air that's already in
Correct,
the clothing. It just
Yep.
it traps it and doesn't allow it to escape.
Yep. It's not a tight fit jacket. It's a puffy, more bigger jacket. So.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So you talked about spikes. You got a pair of spikes there. You can show some people.
Yep. Just right here. Normal spikes. They go around your neck right here. Always keep them on when I'm ice fishing. So if you ever fall through, just pull them out. Keep them in your hands. That way you can climb up out of the water, back onto the ice. And once you get up on the solid ice, don't stand up immediately. Crawl yourself away as far as you possibly can to make sure you are on solid, safe ice, and then stand up. So
Okay, get away from
don't
where you fell through.
don't immediately stand up because that ice that you right around could be the same ice you just fell through. So try to get yourself as far away from that hole you fell through as you can. So.
Good. That's a good point. I never thought about that, but that makes complete sense. So.
Yep.
Okay, so you talk about propane and heat. What kind of heater do you take with you?
Just a Mr. Buddy, just a normal Mr. Buddy. Everyone uses it in their hunting blinds, so nothing extraordinary on that. Keep it as small and compact as I can. I got a lot of gear coming out there, so space is definitely very slim in there.
Okay. What about? Do you ever take like a jet boil with you so you could actually, if you were to fall in, you needed to get something warm in you, you could get water not boiled, but get it warm or hot to where you could get that inside you to help bring your core temp back up?
I don't have one of those, but I actually have a little stovetop that goes on the front of my Mr. Buddy, so I
Okay.
can cook stuff on that. So I could definitely boil water on that if I needed to.
Okay, so you got a way to make to
Yep.
get some warm liquid back in.
Absolutely, because it's a little cold out there.
I always
now-
got a nice big thermos of coffee out there. So
Deer camp, I hope.
Right. So are you when you go out there, are you taking a 4-wheeler out with you, or are you hauling it? Are you hoofing it with a sled, or what you haul it all in?
snowmobile is my preference. There's a couple reasons. Especially Saginaw Bay, you're crossing over some pressure cracks. So a sled, obviously you can cross some open water on a sled. Quad, if you're out there on a quad, you're gonna have to use planks and stuff like that. So in the sled, you got spikes on them, so you get more traction on the ice. You don't have to run chains like on a quad or something like that. So I definitely prefer a sled over a quad on the ice.
Okay, so we're going to go out on Saginaw Bay. Let's say we're going to go this weekend. We get our gear together, we meet you, and we start to head up there. How close do you play the weather? And I'm talking mainly about wind direction.
Wind shift.
Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely watching that. I mean, the morning I'm going out, so I'm keeping an eye on that wind. West wind coming out of Saginaw Bay. If you're coming out of the west side of the bay, is definitely not good. Those pressure cracks are going to open up quite a bit. A lot of people like fishing the east side. Obviously, winds come out of the west a lot. So a lot of people like to come across the east side because the cracks are pretty tight over there. So I fish the west side a lot, so I deal with the pressure cracks. But if you play the wind right and know what you're doing out there, you don't have an issue. So.
How far ahead are you looking at wind conditions? Are if you got a wind shift coming and say the front's coming through in the evening, are you still going to fish that in the morning and then get off?
Yeah,
before
I'll
it
make
comes
sure
in?
the whole day. Yep, I'll watch the whole day. Absolutely. I mean, even when I'm out there fishing, I'll keep an eye on the weather.
Okay.
A couple years ago, we were out there on Saginaw Bay, fished all day, beautiful day, and out of nowhere, just a big old snow squall came through, and we couldn't see a thing out there. And if it wasn't for GPS and our tracks we marked out there, we probably would have had a hard time coming back in. So.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, we're bumping up here on the first break. We come back. Let's keep talking about this. I got a couple questions
We got
along that
I
line.
pulled up a couple videos. We can see how that float works.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
All right. We're going to step outside, take our first break, and we'll be right back after this.
All right. Keep those questions flowing in. Good ones from Mark Coleman.
I see what you did. Ice flow.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
It's all theme tonight, boys and girls. Guys
They
and
were
gals.
out there a little too early for Saginaw Bay.
Yeah, absolutely. I was shocked that somebody was out on the big water.
Yeah, most
So
of those
quick.
guys fishing that shore ice are going for perch. You're only fishing probably 6, 7, 8 feet of water there. So.
Yeah, gotcha. Alrighty. Okie dokie. Any questions there?
Yeah, we got a couple questions.
All right.
Yep.
All right, here we go. All right, welcome back. Second segment of the show. We were talking before we went to break, talking about safety on the ice, wind conditions, and you'd mentioned GPS that you had with you to get back to shore. When you go out, even on a bluebird day that you're not expecting anything, do you mark where you get on the ice at, and do you mark, and carry a breadcrumb trail with your GPS as you go out so you can follow
Yeah,
it
actually,
back?
my fish finder actually has a built-in GPS. So as I'm moving around on the water, it's auto-tracking my track. So
Okay.
every foot I take, every step I go, it's tracking my movement. So,
Now do you take an extra battery out there with you for your cell phone, or a brick with you just in case?
so I have an extra battery with me, and I actually have a battery box I bring as well. So I have 3 batteries total, and they're all lithium ion. So the run times on those are about 20 hours. So I got plenty of juice to do what I need to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, like you said, when that weather moves in sometimes, and you might have to hunker down, you don't want to, try to go into it or anything. It gives you a little bit of time to sit back and just wait the weather out.
So you were talking about the time you got caught out in a snow squall. How far out were you from shore?
7, 8 miles.
7, 8 miles. You have a squall come in, and I got to imagine when you're that far away, you don't see land in a squall, and it becomes a complete whiteout.
Yep, absolutely. Even on a clear day out there on Saginaw Bay, I mean, there's very, very minimal lights out on Saginaw Bay. I don't know if anyone's out there has ever been fishing out there, but it's a very dark fishery. There's not a lot of lights out there. So as far as shore lights, so yeah, I mean, there's a couple directional lights you can go off as far as like water towers or cell phone towers, but as soon as you get some fog or snow come in, you ain't seeing nothing.
So you better be prepared to have a way to find your way back to shore.
Yep, GPS.
Okay. All right. Well, you're talking about your fish finder that was marking your steps. What kind do you use?
I have a Humminbird
Okay.
fish finder, so it's strictly for ice fishing. It's the Helix series. Had that for probably 6-7 years now, so that's pretty nice. It's got the Lake Master chip in it, so I got all my lakes on that as well.
So have you tried any others and found out that this one is best for you?
I have not tried any others. This is my first one I've ever had, but I did do a lot of research when I got it. So, I mean, you can't really go wrong with Humminbird, Garmin. I mean, they're all top of the line. Ford, Chevy, whatever.
No, it's not. Well, it's not whatever. That's
You're talking to the wrong guy here, man.
I shouldn't have said that.
Right, you're right. You shouldn't have. But do some homework. I've seen.
Yeah.
When Mike and I have been at Cabela's, when we were doing the show circuit there, we would see people come in, especially like now, especially up at the Saginaw location for Cabela's, and you got to do your homework. There's a whole bunch of them. And different, like you said, yours has mapping technology, and then you've got a whole bunch of others, and it's like, oh man, and price ranges are all over the board, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you can spend up to $2,500 on an ice unit. So, and since I've gotten mine, there's been a pretty drastic change in the technology. They now have 360-degree ice fish finders, directional fish finders. As far as mine's just a basic cone straight under my hole, 7-8 feet, wide cone. So, but there's a lot out there now. So do your homework, pick what's right for you, especially price range. So.
Right, exactly. Just like you said, do your homework and everything.
Well, speaking of homework, when you're doing your homework and trying to figure out what you need to take with you and all that, when you go out, do you I mean, we file float plans when we go kayaking. We let somebody know where we're at. Do you do the same thing when you're on the hard water?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Someone always knows where I'm at and when I'm going out and when I'm coming back in. So yep.
Okay.
And I always go out with somebody.
Okay.
Don't ever go out by yourself.
All right.
Every time I go out on Saginaw Bay, I am always with at least 1 or 2 people. So
Okay.
don't go out there by yourself.
And I would imagine, I mean, we've been out on Saginaw Bay on the soft water,
Yes.
fishing. We got good cell signal out there. So I would think if you're out there fishing or any big lake, turn your location locator on and share that with somebody in your family so they can see where you're at.
Yep.
That way if there becomes an issue,
Absolutely.
they can say, well, okay, well he's out here in this section of water.
Well, like you talked about earlier in the show, the when they found that equipment on the ice.
Right.
If they would have told somebody where they were
Yeah.
and didn't report back, or the person they came back.
Right.
It could have saved a lot of time.
Yeah.
But
And a flight out by the Coast Guard.
right?
Yeah, and some states actually require your name and address and phone number on your shanties,
Yes.
no matter what. So
Don't they here in Michigan?
Yes.
They do not, unless you're
Nope.
having a permanent check. If
Oh,
it's a
permanent.
permanent check,
That's right.
but some states you have to have them regardless. So in this case in Michigan, that would have solved a lot of issues, right? You'd had a name, address, and phone number. Boom, they're off the ice or not off the ice.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah. I just
something that the DNR will probably maybe consider after that occasion.
I would think so. I mean, to me,
They
it would
put a
just
lot of
make
money
sense.
into that. So
Yeah.
Some of those sheds are high tech and pretty comfy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
Something like your Humminbird finder and everything. Is there what? Unfortunately, if you get excited, you got that big one coming, and you kick it, and it falls through the hole. Can you get these insured, or how does that work?
I have no idea. That's nothing I've ever actually looked into.
We don't want you to find out.
Yeah, I don't ever play it that close. Don't want to lose my gear to the bottom of the lake. So.
Right?
Not be fun.
Well, it's one of those things. It's a question that was asked.
I
so-
remember that this was back when Michael was still in high school. We had a buddy of his with us, and we were fishing, and we had 2 ice huts out, and all of a sudden, I hear his buddy just screaming, and he had his cell phone in his shirt pocket, and he bent over to get something, and went right down the hole. You know, so we were only like an 8 foot of water, and it was clear enough you could see the phone down there. You know, so I go over, check out what's going on, I tell him what happened. He goes, well, call my phone, and I go, for what? To see if a fish answers it? I said, what good is that going to do? I just it's just one of those funny ones.
I had a buddy lose a phone down the hole a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's
not a good occasion. No.
You know what? In the break, remind me. I'm gonna go over. There's my tether right there for my phone.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's always good to have. You were talking earlier about that Sure Float. If you want, we can take a few 41 seconds here. We can do a little video, and it shows you from Striker Ice.
Hit play.
I am hitting play.
So we'll check this out and see
Right.
what they got going on here. So there you guys falling in. Man, he
popped up like a bobber.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty slick.
It's a game changer. Yep.
Sure float. Okay. I mean,
Yeah, you probably see 90% of people out on Saginaw Bay definitely have those on. So
I would think so. You
Yep.
know. You know.
and especially nowadays, even on the smaller lakes, you're seeing that a lot. So people are definitely taking the precautions and being safe about it. So
And I don't know about that particular model of outfit there, but, we were looking, like a jacket we were just looking at was about $400. And I got to imagine the bibs are probably about the same price, I would think.
Yeah, they usually run pretty close.
And, if you're going to spend, anywhere from probably $600 to $1,000 on a suit, you're like, man, that's a lot of money. Well, what's your life worth?
right, exactly.
And think of it this way too. It's also thermal gear for when you're on the ice to keep you warm as well.
Yep.
And you know what hunting gear costs. I mean, whether if you're deer hunting or whatever, if you're going out west and you're hunting in the mountains, you got to have gear to stay warm. And the stuff now, I mean, you're paying $200-300.
Yeah, exactly. So
For that.
Yep.
So,
yeah, for sure. So we've got the safety down. We've got our gear on. We've got your hummingbird in your under your arm. You're heading out. What are we looking at for gear wise that you're going to be? Unfortunately, are you using the same gear you used last week, or are you going to switch over because you're heading? I think you're heading to Little Bay to knock.
Yes, I am. Yep. So yes, I will definitely have a totally different gear change for that. Walleye fishing is definitely different than pan fishing.
Okay, so you were strictly pan fishing on that
Correct,
lake.
yep.
Okay, gotcha.
I did have tip-ups out as well for pike. Didn't have any luck on that, so picked up a bunch of bass though.
You did. You picked up a really nice bass.
That was actually off my jigging rod. That wasn't off a tip-up, but
Nice.
that was pretty cool.
All right, so you're heading up to Little Bay to knock next week, which
Yep.
they should have ice.
Yeah, they got ice. They've had ice since about Christmas, so.
And so, what's going to be your go-to setup up there, and how deep of water we think we're going to be in?
Range is 18 feet to 32 feet. I mean, you could come up to. It all depends. I mean, you got to find the fish. It all depends. Definitely time of day. Definitely moving to deeper water. But I'm looking at that 20 to 30 feet range is my go-to. So.
And you're setting up on walleye, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So now, are you getting tips as to where the fish are from the locals up there, or from past
Maybe a little
experience?
bit,
Okay.
but I've done a lot of research on Little Bay to Knock and looked at a lot of lake maps. Like I said, my lake map on my ice fish finder is very detailed, so I can see all the breaks and structure. So that's what you're looking for when you're walleye fishing. So is that
Did you
structure.
notice he didn't share that photo of where he's going and how all the homework he's
I
done?
know with
on
his
that.
little pointer, it says I'm going to
Yeah.
be right here.
Yeah,
And
we didn't get that information to share tonight, folks. Sorry.
Little Bay to Knock's a big lake, so try to find him is what he's kind of saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so, all right, so you're heading out there. You're going to be using tip-ups. You're going to be using rod and reel.
Yes, I am. Yep. I'll have one tip up out, jigging with one rod, and then I'll have a dead stick rod on my left-hand side.
Okay.
And a dead stick rod is basically a rod that I have down there with a live minnow, and I just don't touch it at all. So the other one I'm jigging with, nice heavy action on it. So
So why is Little Bay to Knock? What brought you the conclusion to go there for the first time and keep going back?
Some of the biggest walleye in the country come out of Little Bay to Knock. It's a huge fishery for trophy walleye. The number of walleye in Little Bay to Knock is extraordinary. That population on that body of water. I mean, they come all the way up from Green Bay. So, I mean, you're getting those fish from Green Bay migrating up into Little Bay to Knock. You got about 5 or 6 rivers that come into Little Bay to Knock, so there's plenty of room for them to spawn. So it's a big ice fishing destination in March as well, last ice, especially with all those fish up there at the rivers. So.
Okay.
Live bait? Are you using plastics? What kind of lures are you going to be using?
All sorts of lures. Jigging spoon is usually what I start off with. Jigging wraps. I mean, you can use a whole variety of stuff. I got some stuff right here.
Now you're going to be using these jigging spoons and whatnot, and you're going to be using a downsized ice fishing rod, right?
Yeah, 32-inch rod. Yep.
There you go. You're not going to be using the 7-footer, right?
No.
Put you a little away from the hole.
That's like one of the spoons I'm going to be using out there.
Kind of looks like a
Something
perch.
like that. So it's like a flutter spoon. So basically in the water it kind of flutters down. But there's a lot of different profiles and actions. Like this is a moonshine spoon, and this is kind of just more of a vertical, up and down jig. It doesn't really flutter in the water as the other one does.
Now, do you tip those with anything?
A minnow head.
A minnow head
is, or a minnow tail. They sometimes are picky.
Really?
Yes.
That picky?
That picky.
Do you ever run them with like a stinger hook where you use the head, the whole body, you put a hook through the head and then run a stinger hook to the back end for the tail?
I do not do that. Open water, I've done that on like the rivers.
Okay.
Running jigs. I do stinger hooks on that.
Okay.
But not for ice fishing, no.
Okay. Shows how much I know about ice fishing.
Well, that's all the little tips and tricks, right? Like you said, like he's using a little bitty tail or a minnow head, right? And it's like, I thought you'd use the whole minnow, but okay, we'll go with it.
And there's also baits that you're not going to use any bait at all.
Really?
So like something like this. This is a rip and wrap. A lot of people run these open water. And this is something you would not run any bait on. I mean, you could if the bite was super finicky and the fish were just coming and checking it out. Throw a little minnow head on there and it might trigger them to bite, right? But this has beads in them, so it makes a lot of noise in the water when you jig it, and the fish can feel that in their lateral lines, and they can feel that in the water column. So this can call fish in. It's a very good bait to call fish in if you're not seeing fish on your sonar. It's a very good bait to call fish in. So it makes a lot of noise in the water.
Says here, fishy, fishy, fishy.
Right?
Exactly.
Do you have any of the lures from the company that is up in Escanaba?
I do. They are right over here. These
He has an
are
accoutrement of fishing.
There you go, right there.
Beaver's Lures. I have not tried these out. I will be trying these out up on Little Bay de Knock. These are called shiver minnows, based off of shiver minnow. So pretty much like a jigging wrap. It's kind of like a darting motion in the water, more back and forth really fast.
Solid
people
body?
use these in open water as well.
Is that a solid body?
It is solid body, yep. It's got the tail fins on the back, which gives you that darting effect. So.
Now,
And that would be something that you could run with no bait, depending on the bite. If it's a hot bite, they will bite on it with no bait, right? But that would be something you could tip with a minnow head on that bottom treble hook.
So Mark wants to know, you're talking about minnow heads and minnow tails. What do you do with the bodies? Eat them?
Throw them on the ice for the seagulls, the birds.
You got a jet boil. It could, get a little.
You can
flame
jet boil.
going.
Well, you know what? That brings up another story. One time on the Saginaw River. Of the few times I've actually been ice fishing on the river, we went with some guys and we bet a guy. I don't know how it came about, but we bet it was him and Michael, and we bet them that they wouldn't eat a minnow, and they both did it. So I forget what we paid them, $5 or something like that, but they both made a little money on that. But.
So this is the first time you're using
Like a
the
little sardine, right?
right.
It's fish.
It is. It's like
A little
sardines.
salty.
You know, it's like eating sushi. You know.
That's right. It is. It is. Talk about fresh. Beaver's Lures are up in Escanaba. It's the first time you're using that pack.
Yep.
I know we've tried to get them on the show. We'll reach out to them again, see if we can't get them out on the show here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now, so you're using a 32-inch rod. You're using your spoons, your beaver lures, and are you using any type of special line? Because I know fish can be finicky with the type of line you use.
Yeah, so this is the rod I'm using. It's a 32-inch medium rod. Depending on the size of fish, you can go up to like a medium heavy if you're fishing really big fish or big baits. But I run a braid to a fluorocarbon leader, 6 to 8 foot leader, and I tie that uni to uni knot, and that's how I run my walleye rods.
Is that what you caught the bass on last week?
No, that was on this rod, which is my panfish rod. This is an ultralight rod. It's called like a power noodle, so it's got a super soft tip on it. Can feel it's almost like a spring bobber tip. Okay. You don't need a spring bobber on this. This is another 32-inch. Like I said, it's an ultralight power noodle, and I run a 4 to 6 pound fluoro straight on that. No braid on that.
So the bigger fish, fish of walleye, that's why you run a leader on it, just so it doesn't get taken off.
That and the fish can see the braid.
See the braid. Gotcha.
So if they're picky, they won't bite.
Gotcha.
So that fluorocarbon in the water is pretty much invisible. You can't see it.
It's amazing how fish can get, whether it be the sight of the lure, the sound of the lure,
the vibration in the water,
right, or even seeing the line.
Yeah. Well, do they see the line or do they feel it moving through the water with vibration?
I would say they would see it more than feel it.
Okay.
If it was, I'm not 100% on that, but I would say they see it more than feel it for sure.
Okay.
But a lot of the guys run just a straight fluorocarbon. If you're not fishing in a shack and fishing outside, braid tends to freeze up a lot more in the cold weather. So I fish in a shack 95% of the time. I'm not really outside hole hopping, but the guys that are outside hole hopping around, not really utilizing a shack, they're running straight fluorocarbon, no braid. So.
Okay, so you got a shack that you take with you. How about when we come back from the break, let's talk about that a little bit about your shelter out on the ice.
Sounds good.
All right, let's step outside, take our next break. We'll be right back after this.
All right, folks, keep those questions coming in. Which one do you got? The shack.
I have the Otter Cabin.
There you go.
The X over, the Pro one.
Alrighty. I think we need to get Mark up here. Get him
Yeah,
on
he needs
some
to do
ice.
some ice fishing.
Yep.
That'd be fun.
Needs to plant those soles of his boots on some hard water.
Yeah, we could hit a lake around here easily.
You
Absolutely.
think?
Yep.
All right. I got it up on the screen. We can talk about that next.
All right, here we go. All right, back. Segment 3, first episode of the year, first episode of season 17 of my journal. Talking with Mark Winn, little ice fishing. And you're going to Little Bay to Knock.
Not going to tell you exactly the pinpoint coordinates, but
Yeah, he wouldn't even share them with us.
Somewhere up there.
right.
He's going up
Somewhere up here.
Up that way.
Yeah.
You know, he'll give you the hand map
Yeah,
up
north.
here,
Like I ain't going to tell you.
right?
Or,
So-
or like Nunya business.
Right. and you know, and when we went to break, we one of the last things we're going to talk about your equipment. We definitely talk about safety, your rod, your reel, your lures, the line. But you talked about just before we went to break. You use an ice shanty out there.
Yep.
And you use the Otter XT Pro cabin?
Yes, I do. Yep. I just got that one this year. So.
Okay. So
It'll be the
we
first
got it
year
up on
with
the
that
screen. So this is your first year up with it. 2-man?
Yep. 2-man. Yep.
Perfect. Got a picture of it with it opened up. Looks like you got bucket seats, man.
Yeah. Bucket seats are super nice. They swivel back and forth. So basically, that tub on the bottom, that's where all my gear goes, and that's what hauls all my stuff out there. The fabric on it's a 1200 denier, I believe, which is going to keep you very, very warm. Definitely recommend getting an insulated shanty. It's going to, keep your heat in a lot more than a non-insulated shanty.
I'm thinking with your little buddy heater and that, you're going to be basically down to probably just your bibs at one point if you're staying inside.
Yep, hoodie and bib is usually what I'm wearing. Yep.
Nice. And another thing you got to do your homework on, because I know they come in various sizes, whether it be a 1-man, a 2-man.
3-man? No.
Yep.
Mine's a 2-man.
Yep. So,
they got some big ones.
Yeah, they got those big
hub styles.
Yes,
They almost look like a hunting blind.
Right, exactly. So, and it does come with a kit. No, that's not what I was looking for. Hold on. But so that one's got 22 square feet you can fish in. You can put 4 holes in there, it says.
Yep.
So, now, who are you going with?
I'm going with a bunch of my buddies.
All right.
My buddies.
So, you're going to be, 2 of you in a pop-up, and then you're going to be, got your, like you said, you had a tip-up on the outside, right?
It'll be me by myself in my shanty, my other buddy by himself in his shanty, and then my other 2 buddies in a shanty together. So,
well, that's cool. Hopefully getting up there will be a nice, safe drive for you.
It looks like good weather. So,
one of the best things that I ever have when we do that, we've been out a couple of times, whether it be Houghton Lake or even right here on the little lakes, is Mark asks the questions, what do you do to pass the time while waiting on the bite? Do you read a book? I found that the one year when we were up on Houghton Lake, we were just chatting it up and just having a good time. It almost, obviously we're outside, we were watching tip-ups, gave us time to talk. My cousin was with us, and it was just so much fun. Just
Drinking a few adult beverages.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yep.
Building fire on the ice.
Right?
And Mark says something about fire on the ice. Yeah, fire on the ice. We build fire on the ice.
If you come up here, Mark,
If the ice is thick enough.
and it's thick enough, well, you don't have to tell him that. Just have him stand close.
There you go.
But,
We'll take his truck on the ice, too.
right. So, with that being said, what's the limit on the bay up there?
5 walleye. They got to be 15 inches plus, and one can only be over 23 inches.
So they're running kind of like a slot limit
Correct. Yep.
deal.
A lot of
Okay.
states do that.
Okay.
Yep.
And did I hear? I just read something from the DNR here recently that they're doing the Saginaw Bay. They're doing 13 inches now.
Yes.
That's been like that for a while.
Yep.
It has been.
13
Okay.
inches, and you can catch 8. You can take 8.
Okay. Did they up the keep? Is that what it was? I know there was something. They opened the season. There's no shutdown in the season either.
Yeah, they did. I didn't look into that, but I did see something on that they did extend or just keep the river fishing open now.
Something
completely.
like that.
There's no close down for the spawn. I guess it's overpopulated now in the river. So
Oh, yeah, that's
I'd
why
have to
you're-
look.
that's
I
why
have to
they,
look into it more, but I think that's what it is.
that's why they shrunk the limit down to 13, because they're getting stunted, and it's like
Yep.
there's-
Well, when we went out in the captain's boat, when we went on the charter, you guys were talking about that they were getting ready to do some things because there's so many fish out there in that fishery right now.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of fish out there, and there's a lot of good quality fish, but there's a lot of more undersized fish. 15 to 13, 12 inches. So
Yeah, you
they're
get a
trying to
lot
get
of
that
those.
class age to grow up. So
Well, yeah, they're trying to get enough out of the pool that leaves them to area to grow, right?
right.
And,
Right. Once your bait fish gone, then no more bait fish, right?
Exactly, and with what you're doing up there, and you're gonna have some fun up there on the hard water. Hopefully, we're gonna see some pictures of some nice fish coming through that ice. Even a couple of pike, I'm hoping.
Yep. I caught a 34-inch pike up there last year. So yeah, I got high hopes for this trip. It's got some good weather forecasted. So last year we kind of got there on a big cold front, so it was kind of some tougher bite. But the weather's looking really good for this year, so definitely excited. And the bite up there has been on fire, so the last couple weeks. So I'm definitely excited.
Well, and you hope, like you said, you get up there. Are you gonna save all the fish you catch, or are you gonna fry some up in the evening, or what are you gonna do?
We're hoping to have a couple nights of fish. Definitely hoping to have some fish. definitely will probably happen. We got 4 guys up there, and we're going to be fishing all day, every day. So we'll definitely get some fish on the ice. So.
That's another nice thing about having a shanty is if the weather does move in, that you can kind of hunker down and just have lunch, wait it out, be warm, play your radio and enjoy it.
Yep, watch a couple YouTube videos. Yep.
So when you're up there, do you ever play any music, or do you worry about making too much noise?
I play some music, definitely midday. I'll play some music. First thing in the morning, I'm gonna definitely be quiet. I'm just gonna be lay low, definitely see what the fish are up to, because even a snowmobile passing by, you can see the fish scatter off your fish finder. So a little bit of noise can definitely scare some fish, depending on how deep a water you're fishing. I mean, if you're fishing super shallow water, then obviously, and then lights as well. Bright lights, don't want that. So.
Okay.
It's a nice thing about a shanty. It makes it nice and dark. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and also it depends on how busy the lake is, because fish could get used to a busy lake, but like when you're up there, you don't get as busy. So that odd snowmobile zipping across, yeah, I could definitely see that. That's for sure.
As soon as the trucks start going on the ice up there, the bite definitely slows down pretty drastically.
Jeez. Is it common, or have you ever been checked by a CO, whether you've been up north or on the local lakes around here?
I was checked on Saginaw Bay by a DNR officer 8.5 miles out on the ice. And he was actually looking for another group of individuals that left a bunch of garbage on the ice. So.
Good.
Not us.
Nail them.
Yeah, nail them.
They definitely checked our licenses, was definitely super nice. Definitely a pretty cool guy. But definitely was looking for some people that were for leaving trash on the ice, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've been stopped by the DNR twice ice fishing. Check my license both times. Up on Houghton. I don't know. I don't think you were with us. They come by. We were in a sleeper shanty.
Oh yeah.
And in the middle of the night, I mean, we're up, and I mean, it wasn't like late at night, but we're fishing through the hole and laying in the bunk fishing. That's kind of cool. But yeah, we were fishing along and knock at the door, and open the door, and CO, and he's like, "Hey, just come by. Just want to check, make sure everybody's all right, and check license, make sure everybody's got their license." And it was, generally speaking, I've never really had any issues with COs. Never.
Most of the 99% of the time, they're all nice. And if you think you hear somebody say something bad about one, there's probably a reason why you don't like that guy.
Yeah, it's probably a very good reason you've done something to make the CO mad and
exactly
and ticket you or whatever. You deserved it. So
I got checked while kayaking up in Crystal Falls in the UP on the Michigami. We were just kayaking, and she came through. She towed a boat in to the launch, and I was watching her, and she just kind of made a little circle over by. She was nice about it.
What was she checking for?
Licenses.
Oh, you were fishing.
Yeah, we were fishing.
Kayak fishing.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
we were kayak fishing, and she just popped over and wanted to see it.
Here's a good question.
Yes, this is a good one.
So you're out on the ice.
Okay.
And I mean, I know if you drink too much coffee and you need to take care of that situation, you can do that in the shanty, or you find a snowbank. But let's say you eat too much food and nature calls, and you need to drop trowel. Do you have a porta potty with you, or do you boogie back to shore and go to the bathroom up there?
Saginaw Bay, 8 miles out. I'm just going outside my shanty.
Okay.
Little Bay to Knock, the cabin's only a mile or so away, so I'd probably jet it back on Little Bay to Knock. But Saginaw Bay, I'd definitely be just going outside.
Okay.
I think Mark is just asking certain questions, covering his bases, because he's probably going to end up here someday.
Yeah.
Ice fishing. He's like, okay, so what if this happens to me?
Yeah.
All right, we got a plan.
What's those snacks? Cosmic
Brownies.
Cosmic brownies. He can't bring too many cosmic brownies. He'll be leaving brownies out there on the ice.
That and coffee, right?
There you go.
Probably not a good mix. But
Let's take our next break.
Oh, okay.
I got a couple questions that are just kind of a little bit on the different sides here. We're gonna do a little digging. So let's take our last break. We come back after this. We'll continue the conversation.
All right, folks. Last break for our 17th season, our first show.
Alrighty. Wait a minute. Is that segment 2 or was that segment 3?
I think it was 3.
That was 3? I can't remember.
Well, when you save it off, it'll tell you. Right?
I hope. We'll see. I had so much fun sitting here talking about ice fishing. It's been so doggone long. No, that was the 3rd segment.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're good.
See
what happens? You get old. You start. You don't only get gray hair. You start losing your memory.
Right.
On top of that, so you got that to look forward to.
Mark's giving us a ha.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
It means he wants to come up and do some ice fishing.
That's what I
He
think.
should.
Should.
Fun.
Bring his.
We all just
Come
plan
up like the 1st of February or something.
Yeah, first, second weekend of February. Come on up and,
End of January.
Yeah, it's always cold in. I mean, that's just dead of winter for us up here, so we'll have ice somewhere.
All right.
Yeah, bring lots of warm clothes, all I can tell you.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, we're back. 4th segment. Last segment of the show. So, you've been ice fishing for how many years now? A good
Like
handful.
7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Yep.
And, out of all these trips going up north, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you?
Probably that Saginaw Bay snow squall that came in. That was pretty gnarly.
Okay.
Definitely pretty nuts out there. It came in unexpected. I mean, we were out there fishing blue skies all day, and then about an hour before dark, which is pretty much the best time to be fishing out there, is low light conditions. So we stuck it out till dark, and as soon as we started packing up, I mean, this thing just came in hammering us. So we were about 7 or 8 miles out.
Speaking of that, how long does it take to set up a line in the water, and how long does it take to take down and head to shore?
Probably about 10, 15 minutes, depending on how many lines I got out. What I got out, if I got a bunch of tip-ups out, then it's going to take a little longer to reel all those up and go out and collect them all. As far as if I just got 2 rods I'm fishing, it'll take me less time to do.
I think Mark asked that question in case he hears ice cracking.
Ice cracking's a good thing usually, when it's cold, because it's making ice.
Right.
Yep.
So, have you ever been out there when you felt the ice shift, or like an ice shove, or what they call a volcano, where water shoots up through the hole from pressure?
I was actually fishing the mouth of the Saginaw River, I think it was 2 years ago, and a bunch of people, I think 3 or 4 individuals fell through in the hot ponds. They're trying to cut through.
Yeah.
So the Coast Guard decided to bring the airboat out of the DNR launch there right at the end of the mouth, and they came within probably 75 yards of my shanty, and I could feel the ice just waving, and the water was just coming out of my holes. And there was probably a good 100 people out there, and they came ripping right through everybody. So.
Wow.
But we were sitting on 12, 14 inches of ice, but you could definitely feel it.
It's not a good feeling, though, when you can feel the ice.
Definitely not. And all the noises it was making, it was definitely not very settling.
Well, tonight we at work, we take these live camera views, kind of like what Danny and I do here at the beginning of the show. We have a camera network all over, and sometimes they'll do a time lapse. Well, there's one up, I believe it was Caseville, and they did a time lapse tonight from first light to dark, and it was, it's only like a 15-second clip, so it's moving really quick. But you could actually see the pressure of the water moving the ice up and down.
Oh wow!
You could see it moving, and that was kind of wild looking. So that's what made me think about that, because I know ice shoves, depending if the wind blows, it'll impact, you hear cracks and they'll start to pile up, or you'll get those what they call ice volcano, or the water where the water shoots right up through the hole. So.
Yeah, I actually had that happen on Tyrone a couple years ago, fishing the tournament. Someone had a 4-seater side-by-side out there. Came within probably 20, 25 yards of my shanty. Same thing. Could feel the ice shifting back and up and down, and sure enough, water was just rushing out of my holes. So
Not good.
Not good. Nope.
Right? That's not a good feeling.
The heavy machines off the ice.
Yeah.
Well, when you get up in like when you get up to the bay, or you do the Houghton Lake thing in February when there's 20+ inches of ice.
When you have a sufficient amount.
Right, and you see a plane landing on it, it's like, and then you see a car driving by, and you're like, oh, wow.
All right, so out of all these trips that you've been on, it doesn't have to happen to you, but what's the funniest thing you've either seen or been a part of?
I I don't know. I've seen a lot of funny stuff out on Saginaw Bay. We were fishing Saginaw Bay, I don't know, I think it was like 2 years ago. We were out there fishing all day, 2, 3 in the afternoon. We look over, and there's a Subaru like 2 miles out, just doing donuts. A Subaru, a full car, just doing donuts out there. And we were like, what the heck is this guy doing? So, if there's enough ice out there, I guess you can go out there with your Subaru and do some donuts.
You can do just about anything out there you want to if you can get away with it. Jeez, oh Pete.
So in terms of ice fishing, what is like a bucket list for you to go ice fishing? Where would be like, I gotta go there and go ice fishing?
Probably some lakes in Minnesota, and then definitely want to go up to Manitoba in Canada and do some walleye fishing. They have some absolutely giant walleye up there.
They also got some giant pike.
And they got
Yes,
a lot
they
of
do.
ice.
Yep,
And they do have ice.
A lot of
they
ice.
have a lot of ice. Yeah, it's nice and safe up there.
Do you have? Speaking of ice, do you have a power ice auger?
I actually use a drill. I use a Milwaukee drill, which I actually have right here. So I use the hammer drill, which the hammer drill actually has the handle on it.
Oh yeah.
They make augers now that will go right in the chuck of your drill, so you can literally just screw it right in, and basically I drill faster holes than most people on the lake.
Really? Is that a 20 volt?
This is, I think my batteries are 24 volt. I'm not sure. I think they're
Okay.
24.
All right, so it's a 24 volt battery operated ice auger.
Yep.
Definitely the handle comes in handy.
Yeah, the handle is definitely nice. It definitely gives you that nice stability on it. So.
Yeah, you torquing your wrist around it can be fun. And we were talking earlier about losing a cell phone down the hole. Here's
Yeah.
Mike's.
Yeah, I got this offline. You know, it's
Yeah, I need to get me one of those.
actually while we're sitting here talking, I'll throw it up.
Yeah, you know that's well, Captain Scott uses one, right?
Yep, he did.
He uses one all the time, and he's always on his phone. And I can definitely see where a guy, you know, he wouldn't be thinking about it and leaning over, and if he had it in a pocket, it's gone.
Well, this is what I use when I'm kayaking.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, and it's got a carabiner on it. You can tie it to, you know, clip it onto just about anything. But I put it on my life vest. But
Yep.
if you got this on you, you know, and you got it, you know, something on your jacket, you lean over, you know, it's not going to fall in the hole. So
Yeah, absolutely. I like that a lot.
you know, I'm tugging on it pretty good right there, and it stays on. So
Yeah, that's nice.
The four corner grip thing is pretty nice. I got one for mine too.
if I'd put it on the right way, it would have worked. So you could use the cell phone or the phone on the camera, or the phone as well, or the camera on the phone. But I've got it on upside down.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
But yeah, it works really great for taking pictures and stuff, and I run my tracking software on it when I'm kayaking as well. So I think I paid $30 for this, if I remember right.
$30 saves you a
$30 insurance.
$1,000 phone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
You know, I was gonna ask you about this lake. Is it Lake Simcoe? Isn't there like
in Canada.
Isn't that a big destination to go fishing?
Yeah, Devil's Lake, Mille Lacs Lake. There's a lot of
okay.
destination lakes in Minnesota, all over the Midwest, kind of. So.
Well, that's awesome. You know, maybe one day you'll get that bucket list trip and you'll be off to Manitoba.
Yep, we're actually thinking about doing it next year, so we'll see.
Hey, why not? You know, hey, we don't know how many sunrises we got, right?
That's
So
right.
you just might as well go and do
Exactly.
it.
Yep.
Young and single, and will travel.
There
And
you
no
go.
kids. Yep. So I got a lot of free time. So
There you go.
use it when I got it, I guess.
And
Absolutely.
disposable income.
Right?
Well, that's why we got the gray hair on our chin. That's another thing that gives you gray hairs and kids.
Amen to that. So I think we should be getting some pictures here, week and a half or so, of some great fish caught on Little Bay to Knock, posted on Up North Journal Fishing,
Yep.
and maybe some live drops.
Yes. If I have good service out there, I was definitely planning on doing some live videos for sure. So.
Good deal.
Yep.
Well, we kind of got into the ice fishing setup for tonight, you know, here in the early part of the season. What we haven't talked about is how did your deer season go? We haven't really talked about that.
I didn't get anything.
Okay.
But I've just been being very picky the last couple years. I've been passing a lot of young deer. I saw a couple nice bucks this year. Saw a really nice 9-point out in Lapeer. Didn't have a shot at it. Didn't ever end up seeing them again on trail camera. So that was during rut. That was like mid-November.
You still got cameras out?
I still have cameras out in Lapeer. I just pulled most of my cameras behind the house. I still have my cell camera out there. Actually had six deer on it this evening, so definitely still moving around.
So if you got cameras out there, then you can still see if he made it through the season or not.
Yep, exactly. Yep, I got a couple nice ones still behind the house, and hopefully that 9-point's still running around out in Lapeer.
You're going to be able to hunt there next year, I take it?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
You know, and speaking of that, big shout out to Mark Coleman. He doubled up with a couple of does.
I saw that.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, it's always good to stack the freezer up.
Got to have meat in the freezer.
That you do. So,
Yep.
So, other than that, I think we've kind of
We've
covered
covered
A to
it.
Z
You know,
on the ice.
it's kind of ironic. We're talking ice fishing, safety, and everything, and it's 50 degrees out. But that's the way Michigan rolls because you're going to head up north. You said the weather's looking good, so
Yep.
you should have a good time.
Yeah, should be good. Definitely looking forward to that trip. So.
Cool.
Check your weather report. Make a or not a float plan. You hope you don't need a float plan. A fishing, ice fishing plan, so somebody knows where you're at.
Yep.
And make sure you got all your safety gear with you before you get out on the hard water. So.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So, all right, get after them and let us know how you do.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, anything else?
No.
Next week you're going to be gone.
Next week, Mark and I are heading to the ATA. First time for Mark Coleman.
Indy or Louisville?
We're going to Indy.
Going to Indy. Okay.
And so I will be doing some live spots from there Thursday and Friday. Well, probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's shifted, so it ends on Friday. It doesn't end on Saturday. So, yeah. So we're
Be a
gonna go
little
check it out.
different
It'll
this
be
year.
the first time in 3 years.
Yeah, COVID kept us away there for a while, and we didn't go last year. I'm trying to remember. We were still dealing with COVID.
Oh yeah,
last
it was
year?
Well, it was combination of COVID. What would have been the regulations at the time?
That's right. What they were allowing.
Yeah, what they were allowing, what they were not allowing.
Full mask and no handshake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had to be 6 feet apart. You know, it just didn't make for a good
Show.
that you need to touch, feel, you hold,
What,
show up. So,
Have you seen anything that you're eager to look at?
I looked. I think there's a couple of we're gonna definitely meet some people out there. We're gonna see Robbie Pruitt from Antler King. He'll be
Okay.
down there. So we're gonna meet up with him. We're gonna try to meet up with the guys from Tacticam.
Okay.
Check them out. Other than that, we're gonna run by the PSE booth, check in with Dan, and we will go from there. We'll check out whoever else we can get our little paws on.
All right.
How we do it? We sweep it and then we go back and look.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I wish I could go this year. It just wasn't in the cards. So we'll see. Maybe next year I can get back down there. Gonna miss hanging down there with the big fella from Indiana.
Right. also, it's going to be unfortunately, Bobby retired.
Yeah.
from PSC, so he won't be there. Which, it's always good to meet up with those guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll run into Tim Andrews, and we'll check in with him.
I know Mark has already met Denny Steiner, but I imagine Denny will be there. You've got to sit down and have lunch with him.
Oh, we will find Denny. I'll make sure to hit him up and see what day he's coming in.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have some fun with him.
So, and give him my best. Sorry that I couldn't make it this year. So, but next week, are we gonna do a show or not?
It's gonna be iffy where we'll be at. I can't
Okay.
guarantee where we will be at.
Probably, I'm gonna say we're probably not gonna be on next week. So, my work schedule has been totally crazy lately. I'm working crazy hours right now. Anybody in the area that's looking for a job in television, let me know.
Right?
we could use a couple people right now. So
Right. So instead of a show next week, we'll do some live drops from ATA. If you're going to do some live drops from the Little Bay, that'll work. And then when we come back, we'll do a ATA wrap-up show. we'll get Mark on probably, and we'll kind of go over his first experience
Gotcha.
handling
Sounds good.
the ATA show. Wear good shoes.
Yep, and then we'll get you back on, Adam. We'll talk about your trip up north and see how that all went and shook out for you.
Absolutely.
So,
Sounds good.
Sounds really good. So, other than that, just make sure you go over to the Up North Journal fishing page. Watch for Adam's drops over there as well. Over there, that's where he's going to be putting those. So, and then you'll be dropping over on the regular Up North Journal page. So, that'll do it for us this week, folks. So, next week we're just check out for those live drops. We're not going to be on. It'll be 2 weeks before we come back, and we'll get an ATA wrap-up show in for that with Danny and with Mark. If you're watching on the live stream, make sure you give us a like, follow, share, and share the show if you would, please. And if you're listening to the podcast and you're listening over on iTunes, go over give us a review. That helps us and helps the people who support us as well. So that'll do it for us this week. We'll be back again in 2 weeks, and we'll give you guys a big report there all the way from Indiana and ATA. You all take care.